In this lesson we'll get into transitioning between major chords, which is crucial for playing songs and developing a strong musical foundation. In order to practice this, we'll use two chord progressions. The first one uses the first three chords we learned, which are E major, A major and D major, and the second progression uses the chords G and C. So the first progression is one measure of E, one measure of A, one measure of D, and one measure of A. Okay, and we'll apply the rhythm to each of the chords. Okay, so one important tip that I can give you for this is to try to visualize the next chord shape. So when you start practicing this, that you of course need to practice and start very slow. For example, you play E major and try to visualize, okay? Try to do this mental exercise of seeing the next chord, in this case A, and try to identify the movement that each of the fingers must do, okay? Try to see the chord there before you play it. That's a great exercise for your mind. Once you are able to visualize the next chord, the following step is to start moving your fingers. And I recommend you to try to do the movement very small, okay? And maybe you can start by using only one finger, by moving only one finger. For example, if we go from this chord to this other chord, we can start by moving this first finger, okay? Finger number 3, okay? And move it from the fourth string to the second string. Notice that this one has to go to the same fret, but to a different string. Then you can also add the other finger that has to go to the same fret again, but to the third string. So you will notice that these two fingers can go as a block, like this. And then you only have this remaining finger, finger number 1, and you have to move it from here to here, okay? It has to go to the fret number 2 on the fourth string. So now you move this block, you move this finger there, and you have the A major chord. So this is what you have to practice and visualize. And try to go from one chord to the other. You don't have to strum at this point. You shall have to get used to this, okay? Once you are comfortable, and if you do this every day, I'm sure that you'll master it very quickly, okay? In less than 1 week, I believe. Then you can go to the next change, that will be A major and D. And the same, try to identify where each finger has to go. In this case, finger number 3 has to go 1 fret higher, okay? From the second fret, it has to go to the 3rd fret. Then this finger has to go to the first string, same fret, fret 2, and this finger has to go from the 4th string to the 3rd string, same fret, okay? So we are here, and notice how you can make this move very small, okay? So practice going from one chord to the other. One thing that you have to avoid is to do this when you change chords. For example, you play A, you remove your fingers and then try to find the other chord. You don't have to do that. You have to keep your fingers closed and try to make them move very smoothly. Okay, so once you are comfortable with each of these chords, you can play the first progression, that is Okay, so if we add the rhythm, okay, so that's progression number 1. Progression number 2 is G, 1 measure of G, 1 measure of C, and again 1 measure of G and another measure of C. So we play this as a loop, okay? It sounds like this with the rhythm. There are many songs that use this progression, okay? And again, when you practice these changes, try to visualize the next chord and then try to identify where each of the notes, where each of the fingers has to go, okay? Try to make this change very smooth, okay? So in the next part, we're gonna practice these 2 progressions over the backing track. I recommend you to dedicate some time to get used to the changes before you move to that part. See you there.